All right, let's jump right in. For this case file, we're not actually looking at a crime. We're looking at a mind. We're going to crack open the file on the world's most famous detective and really dig into the logic, the method, and, the man himself, Sherlock Holmes.
So, just for a second, look around. I mean, really look. What do you see? Your screen, maybe the room you're in. You're taking it all in, right? But the real question is, are you actually seeing it? And that is the big question, isn't it? See, the genius of Sherlock Holmes wasn't just about what he saw. It was about all the stuff that you and I just miss, the things we overlook every single day. It's that huge difference between just looking at something and truly observing it.
So where do we even start? Well, our investigation has to begin at that iconic address, 221B Baker Street. We're going to figure out what makes Holmes so compelling. It comes down to this idea of the uncanny hook. You know that feeling? That deep down curiosity we all have to figure out secrets, to solve the puzzle, and to find what's been hidden from us on purpose. Okay, so here's the official profile. Residence, we know, 221B Baker Street. Occupation, yeah, the world's most iconic detective, plus a master of disguise. But zero in on that defining trait, an uncanny ability to solve crime through logic and observation. That word uncanny is so important. It makes his skills seem almost magical. But, as we're about to find out, it's really a science.
All right, let's move on to the physical evidence. I mean, what can the man's appearance tell us about the mind inside? Because you have to understand, with Holmes, nothing is an accident. His physical self, his anatomy, it's a clue to who he is. And when you look at the actual descriptions of him, it's just brilliant. He's not just tall, right? He's exceptionally tall. His features are sharp, almost predatory. That hawk-like nose and those piercing eyes, those aren't just random adjectives. They're telling you this is a man in a state of constant, laser-focused attention. Seriously, his presence alone could command a crime scene before he even opened his mouth. Okay, now we're getting to the absolute core of it. This isn't about wild guesses or some kind of psychic intuition. For Holmes, solving a crime is a science built on one principle: finding the huge, overarching truth hidden inside the tiniest, most insignificant seeming details.
Yeah, this really sums it up perfectly. Look at the keywords here: cold and rigorous. For Holmes, there is absolutely no room for feelings or making assumptions. It's a totally clinical process. You apply pure logic to these tiny scraps of evidence that literally everyone else has just stepped over without a second glance.
And this right here, this is his whole philosophy boiled down into one single perfect sentence. It is the ultimate process of elimination. I mean, it sounds simple enough, right? But to actually do it, that requires a mind that can see all the possibilities, every single one, just so he can start crossing them off the list.
So the big question is, how does he actually do it? Well, we can break his method down into 3 clear steps. Step 1, observe the minutiae. He sees the tiny little details. Step 2, he cross-references what he sees with this massive mental library of super specialized knowledge he's built up. And finally, step 3, he uses that cold hard logic to piece it all together and reconstruct exactly what happened.
And listen, this isn't just some abstract theory. These are real, practical examples. We're talking about being able to look at the mud on a person's shoe and know, just from the type of clay, which part of London they were in. Or, get this, differentiating between various types of tobacco ash just to know who was in a room. He's using this deep knowledge of chemistry to analyze a tiny stain or a single clue. These aren't just random facts, they're puzzle pieces, and when he puts them together, boom, the truth is revealed. But having a mind that works like this, that runs on pure logic, well, it comes with a price. We've seen the genius of the method. Now let's look at the man, or maybe the machine. And this is really the crucial thing to understand about him. For Holmes, the world isn't really filled with people. It's a collection of problems just waiting for a solution. And that way of thinking, it leads to this deep, profound social isolation. When he doesn't have a difficult case, a storm as he calls it, to keep his mind busy, he just spirals into this intense boredom and even depression. And that right there is why Dr. Watson is so absolutely essential. He's not just some sidekick tagging along. He is the other half of the whole equation. You've got Holmes, the logical engine, totally isolated, chasing this idea of abstract justice. And then you have Watson, the human anchor, He's the one who provides perspective, friendship, and loyalty. He's what keeps Holmes's machine-like brain grounded in the real world, in the world of human emotion.
So, let's make our final deduction. What's the takeaway here? What's the lasting impact of Sherlock Holmes, long after all his cases have been solved and the files are closed?
His real legacy is this: he completely transformed what a detective story even was. Before Holmes, investigations in fiction were often just about dumb luck or a detective roughing someone up. But Holmes, he brought science to the table. He introduced methodology, forensics, the sheer power of reason. He completely changed the game and our whole idea of what a detective could be.
And in the end, it all comes back to that one powerful idea. This is the ultimate lesson from the Holmes method. The truth? It's probably not in the big, obvious clue that everyone sees. It's hidden. It's in the dust on a windowsill, the specific type of ash in a pipe, the tiny, tiny imperfections that tell the real story.
Which really just leaves us with one final question to think about. If you were to take this method and apply it to your own world, what clues are hiding in plain sight all around you? What tiny details have you been looking at every day but never really seeing? What mysteries are out there just waiting for you to finally notice them?